Welcome to Constructive Influence, where innovation meets infrastructure. I'm Kim McCain, Director of Business Development for TW Constructors and our family of businesses. And today we're talking about something that is redefining the job site: prefabrication and modular construction. Now, prefab is helping projects move faster, operate safer, and run smarter. And if you're not already using it, chances are your competitors, they're already in the game. Joining me today is David Charles. He is the business development executive of Built here in St. Louis. It's a firm that's leading the charge in modular building. So let's start with the big picture. According to a 2019 Building Design and Construction article, modular construction can deliver projects 20 to 50% time sooner. And in many cases, prefab can reduce total project costs by up to 15%. And by 2030, the global modular construction market is expected to reach $130 billion. This trend is especially relevant in sectors like healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and data center construction, where safety, sustainability, consistency, and speed matter a lot. Now, let's go deeper with someone who sees the value of prefab every day, and that's David Charles from Built. Well, David, welcome to Constructive Influence. I'm so happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Kim. It is an honor to be with you today and to have this conversation.
Yes, and it's so important. So let's just start with the basics. How do you explain prefab and modular construction to a client who's never used it before?
Excellent question, Kim. I will say that either though both terms are interchangeable, they do have differences. So, first and foremost, with the similarities and how they are the same, both prefab and modular. Comprise of architectural components that are created and manufactured offsite in a factory and then directly shipped to the job site. And as well, both encourage design flexibility, capitalize that design flexibility. So it's not just in the day one when you design it or the day two when it is built, but really year 15, which one of our built clients still is adapting their dirt system to really conceptualize and really fit what they need in that moment.
Mhm.
Um, Now, for what's different about them, modular construction is mostly exteriors. So when you think about panelized construction methods or foundational pieces to adhere a structure to the site, you're really kind of going to that element. Whereas prefab applies to mostly interiors. So you're talking about the wall systems, you're talking about the actual pieces that everyday workers will use. For example, Dirt, which is our flagship product at Built, is a prefabricated assembly, multi-trade prefab construction that includes wall systems that can be either panelized or using glass fronts. And it includes ceiling grids as well, or if you wanted to do underlay floors for your data and your electronics, we can incorporate all of that within a prefab system. So, therefore, modular is prefab because you can move it all around, but prefab is not necessarily modular because with modular systems and modular areas, it's far more kind of layered to just take one whole structure from place to place.
Interesting. See, I learned something new today. So, which project sectors would you say, like healthcare or industrial, are really leaning into the prefab work right now? And why do you think that is?
Absolutely. Well, certainly, healthcare, number one for prefab, and a lot of that has to do with facilities always having to refresh their spaces. If you look at hospitals, urgent cares, depending on the amount of traffic that's going in, you may need
Mhm.
to add rooms or provide modified equipment that is top of the line to really provide that experience and care. So having project managers allocate budgets for these renovations, prefab makes it a lot easier to say switch out a room layout instead of your traditional drywall where you have to rope off an area for such a long time. So
Mhm.
really also having the ability to copy and paste a layout. So when it's being installed, getting it to a fraction of the cost. And I'll talk about that a little later. Um, as well, education. Education spaces are really benefiting from prefab because with students, summer vacation, as we're recording right now in the heat of July, literally the heat of summer, 100 degrees,
Right.
honey. Uh,
Period. Yes.
period.
Ridiculous. Swampy.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I'm sweating here. But with those education spaces, you really only have a 3 month period when you don't have kids roaming the halls to really modify classrooms and bring in more elements to make the building what it needs to be for conducive learning and inspiration. So, one project in particular for healthcare happened to, or for education happened to be at Washington University, where even the administrators benefited from prefab. I was able to take a conference room and create 2 offices for newly hired staff. And we were
Oh.
able to have a glass front wall for each office and then a demising wall in the middle. So that paneling system had not just your beautiful fabrics or powder coats, but we can do different writable surfaces. So they can
Mm.
have, a place to stack papers or memos with magnets and also write and making sure that's all integrated within the wall instead of buying additional marker boards and cluttering up the space, keeping it very streamlined and also adapting to their sound needs. So, because with each person needing to conduct business and have students on one-on-one appointments, so they're both very
Mhm.
happy. So I tend to do that, and then in Illinois, another project that we've worked on in the education factor is Richland Community College in Decatur, Illinois. And
Mhm.
they had worked with dirt before in 2017. The architect on record for that is BLDD Architects. And they have offices in St. Louis as well, in Illinois. But when we came in 2024, they were looking to adapt their college sciences department. So we were able to adapt their 24,000 square foot footprint and only one semester was lost in instruction time. So it went a
Oh.
little bit past crazy. Yeah, just one. When you
Yeah.
think about traditional construction, it would have been, the timeline extended because with how they knew about the prefab system and our multi-trade solution, we were able to give them the desired effect they needed. We had a record of colors they used and how it can adapt for prior projects. And then, most
Mhm.
importantly, the maintenance. The facilities manager even spoke at a panel last year for the construction forum and said it's a lot easier to do it hands on at the site instead of asking for someone to come out and you lose maybe even a week to fix a part or to provide additional um, satisfaction. So those two in particular, we've seen have kind of been blossoming and in real need of prefab.
Love it. So, beyond speed, what are some of the other client benefits that might surprise people? May it be quality or safety, labor savings, even since you're already coming in with the pre built things.
Absolutely. Well, certainly, the timing is huge. With savings in that effort, for us, the earlier that we can get to the table and bring not only the owners but the architects and the contractors, as CW, and
Right.
we can save the time as well. And because a lot of what people who encounter prefab, they think of building it as a traditional method. But what we can do with budgets is incorporate art, we can incorporate doors, we can incorporate glass, and really have all of that in one package instead of dividing it out separately. So
Mhm.
that education, and as well learning what the budget is, but also what the existing needs are for that client. Will they want to move the walls? Will they want to experiment with expanding their footprint in the future? One of our clients, Kingsway Development, we've been working with them, and they have known since day one that their footprint will include renting out office space. So,
Right.
dependent upon how much they may have to move a wall or shorten or make it less wide. So we have in our documentation made increments for the pieces of dirt, so it's easy for them to move it, you know, as necessary. So that definitely saves on the labor. And then for the safety
Mhm.
aspect, you know already when you're on a job site and you have a lot of extra pieces that are on the floor, and then something comes up, and you don't want to call HR or go to the
Right.
hospital. So we are really really proud to say, especially with dirt, that the quality control of each component as well as the amount is to the millimeter. So there is not excess waste that you have to contend with. And with a lot of the components, such as the walls, they're pretty tilt up. So that includes any power assemblies, that includes the installation. And everything is, very well methodic in putting it together from the instruction manuals and so forth. And that also leads to a more sustainable option. When you don't have a lot of those access materials, then it's really important to note it's better for the environment. It's better for eco-friendly assembly, where you don't have a lot of access going into the wastelands, and it's all safer and faster to provide that full solution to that end result.
And better for the environment and not just people. I love that. So you touched on this a little bit. Some owners could worry that prefab might limit them with design flexibility. How do you respond to that concern?
I definitely believe that it is the opposite of the question. So a lot of people say, it limits you, but I say sky is the limit with prefab. Most likely because it allows you to really bring your style to the table. For dirt, an example, we can color match anything you want within our panels. So think about having a warranty with your walls. You can't necessarily say that with the drywall system. When you have to
Mhm.
touch up, we have everything QR coded in the back of our panel. So finding those details are quintessential, and we can do that instantaneously. Um, and giving us that opportunity to be at the table early in the process allows for not only plotting out the design and working alongside the architect to
Right.
assist with design capabilities and ideas, but as well the owners. We all know that costs are ever fluctuating, and that T word, we'll say that now, but
Right.
we're able to adapt a lot of our planning with that kind of guideline. So, whether it is a quick turnaround, like some projects have been out with our 6 weeks or 6 months and beyond, we work with you to ensure that we get you everything that you desire, and you don't feel like there's a limit.
Right. I love that. So, I mean, you also talked about labor and how it definitely helps to address labor shortages in our industry. We have talked about that before with other guests. So, I mean, obviously, prefab is helping in that area. So, that's a big selling point with you guys, too.
Absolutely. And the big elephant in the room as well with labor is that we're needing more laborers. We need more people in the trades. I know the
Right.
construction firm in St. Louis can speak to that as well, where apprentices are in dire need for certain applications in certain fields. But the great thing with the labor is you can have smaller crews on site, especially with prefab, and you can do a wider array of work within a fraction of traditional construction, and that is very helpful as well. So you can fit in 2 3 projects in the time span it took one. um, I know for CFG Bank in Baltimore, Maryland, we had our teammates fly out weekly during the install, and it was incredible to see how fast the process was, and really how we could guide those contractors and installers on the methods. And even for younger people who are desiring a career in the trades, they can look at something similar to prefab and say, hey, I would love to be an expert in that, and really become something of a new age and thriving element to building. And from what I've heard before, people prefer prefab as a laborer because it is easier. It is, I think, a little bit more rewarding because you see that end product faster. So
Mhm.
there's a myriad of things that you can do to have labor for prefab. And then most importantly as well, as the prefab design evolves, there are more fun ways in order to build it as well. So it's great to kind of get in that headspace too.
I love it. Yeah, prefab sounds like the move. Obviously, when you talk about making things easier and you talk about making things quicker and safer, and you can save with labor, you're concerned that it might take jobs, but you're saying like, hey, you can become an expert in prefab, and that's how you maintain your position in this industry using a prefab method. So TW Constructors is often working in highly regulated, high stakes environments, right? So how does prefab support quality and compliance in those types of jobs?
We do 1000%. In certain cases, particularly in St. Louis, with compliance and making sure all of our components align with municipalities, we can meet up with seismic earthquake codes. We can meet with different
Mm,
thicknesses of steel and so forth, because we understand. And with Built having worked with projects regionally and across the US, that every city's different. And we want to ensure
mm,
that those quality methods are met with top of the line service, because when you're in a building you want to make sure it's safe, and certainly the same with our products. One thing I will say with prefab, we've had the honor of working with 2W Constructors with Worldwide Technology Headquarters, doing
mhm.
some of the C-suite levels, and touring that for the first time last year was just impressive. But it is definitely a client relief as well to know that we can be top of our game in terms of making sure everything is in on point and level. So we definitely welcome more sort of safety checks and more of those regulations as people learn more about the prefab system because it just guarantees that it is a viable method for construction going forward.
So, since we're talking about the future, where do you see prefab heading in the next few years?
I would say is sky's the limit, and certainly prefab is innovative. And one thing I will say about prefab, as with
Mhm,
as we as a society evolve, it's about the people. Prefab
mhm,
is people. It is people forced. It is people driven, and most importantly, people centric.
mm,
What is found in new areas and new ideas within modular construction and prefab are being adapted. I could say for Dirt, they had the Cove, which is a new healthcare AER that was adapted because people were curious in getting that done. So there is no sort of barrier to what we can do in order for design and construction and living better. And especially for prefab, we want to have an environment where getting past the pandemic, everyone wants to go back out and be social together. And certainly in
right.
a workforce environment, having a prefab space where people can be able to collaborate, socialize, learn, and to heal and to live.
Mm.
Definitely see prefab going in an incredible direction and trajectory moving forward. And same with built. We definitely encourage our spaces to meet those standards, and we build a vision for everyone involved so they can have the ideal for today and tomorrow.
I love it. So let's go back because you keep interchanging dirt and built. So explain the two different entities.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see the vehicle built here, right?
Right.
So built Build Solutions is a commercial interior products dealer that is headquartered out of Overland Park, Kansas. It has been in the St. Louis area for approximately 7 years now. I
Mhm.
started as their business development executive almost a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Still in the honeymoon phase. Time flies when you're having fun. So as in the past few months, we were acquired by Mercer Zimmerman, which is a lighting agency also headquartered out of Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
So there's an incredible synergy between the lighting world and the construction world.
Mhm.
Mercer has coverage in Kansas, in Iowa, in Nebraska. Built Solutions is from Kansas City area, going into the state of Kansas. So Topeka, Lawrence, and then we cover Springfield, Missouri, Columbia, kind of all throughout our Show Me state. I'm in St. Louis, and then we
Right.
also cover into the Metro East, so Central Southern Illinois as well as Springfield, and then we also just gathered the Des Moines and Iowa territories as well. So we are
Nice.
a
Okay.
great kind of Midwest kind of thing. And then I do say dirt a lot because built for the longest time we carried a dirt sole dealer, but now we have a myriad of products on our line card that can help further get a holistic solution. So, including acoustics, we have architectural
Oh,
shades, we have a product called Analusia, which is based off of parametric design for ceiling, wall applications, signage, very much in line actually with the prefab model in terms of really going in with all of your dreams and an idea and having us meet the budgetary standards and meet the capabilities in doing it. So, Build is becoming a true solution for custom solutions.
I love it. So, I mean, when you talked about acoustics, I'm thinking like recording studios and media studios, things of that nature. You do work in that area too.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
speaking of recording studios, this fabulous recording right now.
Yeah.
We so we do offer those services. So Frosh is our PET acoustic line, and Kim, as you said, like for recording studios, we offer wall applications, but we also offer ceiling applications such as baffles. A lot
Mm.
of times, I explain to people who are new to acoustics, if you're in a restaurant. I
Mm.
won't say names, but there's certain ones that are large, right? And a lot of people can, congregate
Make a
in
lot of
them,
noise. Yeah.
make a lot of noise. Yes, honey. And then you need the blowhorn, you need the megaphone to hear the person across from you, to have them hear you. So we could definitely provide those services. And a lot of times in design, those come after the building is made. But we like to encourage you really put that on the table as the building is being done, because if you are in especially a commercial space or an office and you are trying to do the last minute legwork for a deadline, you're hearing everything outside, inside, you're hearing all the gossip, like, this ain't the water
Right.
cooler, this is my office, let me work.
Right.
Uh, so we could definitely make that you know achieve a solution for that faster. And then we do have another sound control, sound masking, from another manufacturer, Lemcor, and that can provide, if you are in an adaptive reuse building, something
Hmm.
to kind of soften the interior, instead of you hear a pin drop, and that can also be distracting. A lot
Exactly.
of times if you have a little bit of background noise, it's great.
See, I'm learning so many different things. I mean, I had a limited view of what prefab meant, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are getting into construction projects and not really thinking about acoustically how will it be affected. And like you said, with lighting, that can change everything, especially in healthcare situations where you're talking about. They say that how a space is lit can really determine how well you'll heal from an illness. So, I mean, this is all things that people don't even think about when they think about construction. So, thank you for sharing your knowledge today, David. This has been really interesting.
More than welcome, Kim, and it is fantastic to
Yeah.
be with you. And definitely, I'd love to be back again. But those who are listening, feel free to reach out to me. My LinkedIn, I say, is my like People magazine. I'm there at least once a day, checking out my things, but also to provide any knowledge for questions you have. One of the things I love about being at Built is getting that value proposition and bringing the education. So even if you do have a question that may not be on a specific project, but how can I
Right.
incorporate this? I'd be more than happy to employ myself and my team to give you those results in St. Louis and beyond.
I love it. And make sure you reach out to him and you tell them about your newsletter. You give great information, especially to other people in the industry locally. I found out about events through your newsletter. Tell more about that too.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for mentioning that, Kim. Oh my gosh. When you added me, I just kind of go on a side note. I was like, oh my God, Kim's added me. So, so I love you. I love you. So I started a LinkedIn newsletter through my profile, I was like a couple years ago. And I now do it monthly. I first wanted to do a weekly, but then there's just so much going on. But each month,
It's a lot.
oh my gosh, but each month I put out a listing of events through the AEC. Before this role, I worked with AIA St. Louis, and I know when I started out in the industry, trying to make connections and build upon this very strong network, it was about exposure. And
Right.
sometimes you can get overwhelmed with how many events you can attend. I mean, literally, you could do one a
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah.
we've talked before, it can be overwhelming.
It's
But for
like choose
me,
wisely. Choose
yeah,
wisely.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. And for me, I wanted to be the assistance to those who are maybe new to the industry or those who are, well versed, but may not have an opportunity to network. Certainly
Right.
in the nonprofit world, where I think there are over 1,000 in St. Louis, or we are among the highest capita in the region. So it's hard to find those, especially if you want to plug into what's in the interior design world, or certainly architect world, or the healthcare world, or the green building
Mhm.
world. So utilizing my contacts and kind of digging, I put a list in my newsletter every month
Mhm.
that usually is published between in the first week of the month, and then on the top, I do a summary of where I've been because many know I roam these streets. You know that.
You're
So
always outside. He's always
I'm always
outside.
outside, always outside. So it's a great opportunity to highlight also wonderful people in the industry who are celebrating
Mhm.
causes and other events that pertain to groups of people. So, in fact, I was in Springfield, Missouri, a couple last month, so I did a little blurb in my newsletter about that. So it's in the St. Louis region, but also I understand a lot of reps may cover cities that are adjacent. So I really try
Yeah.
to bring a whole picture of what's going on in the architecture, in education, and construction industries, and also tagging those companies that do a lot already. That Construction Forum, for example, I know I mentioned them before, but they always have great
Yeah.
events, and just being
Yeah.
that knowledge base.
And we love you for it. Thank you so much, David. You have been one of the greatest contacts I've made in this industry, and you continue to do great work. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, so much. And you always are just a light. Whenever I see you out, you just keep shining. So I know, can't wait to shine with you in person very soon.
Yes, and we
That'd
have
be
to get
awesome.
together soon. We have to get together soon. So
Yes.
that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about prefab and David Charles, thank you again for joining us and for sharing how built is pushing the prefab movement forward. And to our listeners, if you're looking to integrate prefab into your next construction project, make sure you continue to follow the podcast, obviously, but reach out to David on LinkedIn. He's David Charles on LinkedIn, and make sure you subscribe to his newsletter. And until next time, make sure you continue to build smarter, stay agile, and always be constructive.